Life on Cateros Creek, my blog where I share different ways to create a real home on a real budget, one DIY project at a time. And today I want to share one of those DIY projects with you. I picked up this table at the Salvation Army for 15 bucks, and I wanted to stain the top, stripped it down, sanded it, stained it, and now I'm going to paint the bottom. And I want to do what's called a wash technique. It's like a watercolor effect. I haven't done it before, so it's the first time I'm trying it, so you guys get to experiment with me. So I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to move you over to the table. I painted the legs, as you can see where I stained the top. I painted the legs a sage green. It's with chalk paint. I made it with plaster of Paris. And now I'm going to do the wash. So I have the color that I'm going to wash on. You're not going to see me for a minute, which is fine. Here, let's see. I have the paint that I'm going to wash on. I made it with some paint that I had left over from doing my son's room, a navy color. And I mixed it with some water and a little bit of plaster of Paris because I do want a little that soft chalk paint effect. And then I put a little bit of water in there. And the reason I put water in is because I want it to be really thin and kind of drippy. A little bit less than regular paint, so it's kind of soupy. The point of that is to make it really thin when it goes on, so when I rub it with the cloth, it washes and wipes it off. So the other thing that you need is a dry cloth to wipe the paint around and a wet cloth in case you get too much on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and just touch up a little bit of the paint on the surface and then take the dry cloth and kind of rub it around. And the whole point is to get just a little bit of that blue color on there, really washed in. And then I'm going to do it, oops, way too much paint. But the beauty of this is that it's all kind of what you want, how much paint you want on it. So you can rub it off. I also keep the wet rag, a wet rag, and these are just pieces of old t-shirt. Just in case you get too much, you could always go back through and wipe some off. You can also keep a little bit of the base paint on hand. So if you want to go back and touch it up because you got too much paint, the second coat rather, too much of it on, you can wipe it off. And I'm going to hit the little crevices a little bit. If you do it in swirls and you go around in circle, it works a little bit better to blend it all together. And like I said, you can do this however long you want with as many layers as you want to get the effect that you're looking for. Go on the side here. And then I'll do the whole leg. You can hear my chickens in the background. I'll do the whole leg. The fluted parts are a little bit more difficult because you can get down in the middle of those. And then you really have to kind of move pretty quickly because the paint dries very quickly. You can already see I got too much over here. Yeah, so what I can do is take my other paintbrush with the green and just touch up a little bit like this. Kind of go over that and layer it a little bit. You can see where the blue is not so bright anymore. And it's just kind of a layering effect. So there's that, and then you can touch up a little bit here and there. And of course I'll go down and do the whole leg, and the bottom has this cute little piece right here on the bottom where I'll go through and do all the little parts. And then you can also touch up in here a little bit. And the corners. Like this. All right, so that's pretty much where I want the blue. Get you a little bit closer. There you go. So you can see just a little bit of the blue shows through. It's like I said, that color wash or washed out effect. So then what I want to do on top of that, because I want it to be a little bit darker, is to go over it with antiquing wax, which is what I have right here. Let's see, it's from Country Chick Paint. It's their antiquing wax. I use this on a bunch of projects, which you can check out on the blog, mylifeoncateroscreek.com. And I'm gonna take my old paintbrush, just this old paintbrush, and I'm gonna dip it into the wax and kind of work it in there a little bit. And then I'm gonna also take that dry rag again and go over in just little kind of crisscross motions and swirl it around and just make it look a little bit more antiqued. Lots and lots of layers. This again, you have to move pretty quickly because it will dry. Okay, so that's the antique wax is on there. We're layering that through with just little X's here and there. Your dry cloth, and you kind of go through and like to use circle motions like this. So that's for the flat surfaces. For the corners, I want to rough it up just a little bit with sandpaper. This is a 120 sandpaper. And I'm going over the corners just a little bit to bring out some of the green and some of the brown from the wood underneath, where it would kind of be, if somebody came across here, they would rough it up just a little bit, give it a little bit of wear. And if you've been on my blog, you know that I love the worn, farmhousey, layered, rustic kind of look. So we're going to wear this out just a little bit. You can see where the brown's coming through from the wood and the raw wood is coming through. A little bit more, like so. And then along the ball right here, detail, same around the same place, a little bit. And then I'll do it down at the bottom as well, right in a line where it would get roughed up on the edge. Okay. So then with that same antique wax, get a little bit more in there. And you're going to do the same thing, kind of go over the corner a little bit. It just brings out the really pretty wood underneath. Go crisscross a little bit up here and on this. Dry rag. And this one I didn't move quick enough, so it kind of formed a little pattern there, which we don't want to see. We just want to see it looks like antiqued. And there you go. And then you can go back through and kind of touch up around the edges. It's just that all those layers of color and the softness of the chalk paint makes it really pretty. So there you go, from a flat surface to lots of layers with some chalk paint and some antique wax, little watered down paint, and you have a whole different look. You see the color there. So that's it, pretty simple. That's it. So I'm Colleen from Life on Caterhorse Creek, mylifeoncaterhorse.com. You can also find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. So stop and check it out. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.